And we're off and running. Little Sunday action, in fact, a live Sunday edition of Gulfstream today with Jason Lewin and Ron Nicoletti. Delighted, it's always the case, to have your company with us at historic and beautiful Gulfstream Park. Sun is out, we are fast and firm, and of course, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
All the moms all over the world. Happy Mother's Day to you. And it's a beautiful day for you if you're in South Florida with this fast main track firm turf course. Hope you're out here joining us, or at least watching us throughout the simulcast network.
And already, even though we have yet to run, obviously, a race, our first is approximately 1:15, an hour down the road. We run 10 today. Quite a few people at Gulfstream thus far. It's basically lunchtime in the village, just adjacent to our walking ring studios, and quite a few families out as well. So plenty of room for you out here. Make your plans to join us today. Bring mom and treat her to perhaps lunch at Gulfstream Park in the village. 10 Palms, Christine Lee's, plenty of world-class dining options. Now, as far as turning the page off Saturday's card here, Ron, and we're just 6 days out from Preakness 142, I think it's fair to say that Rainbow Six fever really gripped Gulfstream Park yesterday.
Yeah, we had that $300,000 guarantee, and ended up paying $15,000. It wasn't a single ticket, so even if you don't get that one unique ticket, somebody brought down, a bunch of people actually brought down over $15,000, and so we're starting that with a really nice carryover this afternoon.
Fifth race, actually, the opening leg of Sunday's Rainbow Six. Now, as far as the action at Pimlico, I'm glad there hasn't been any defections or any real crazy breaking news from Old Hilltop. Your Kentucky Derby winner, always dreaming. 8 days removed from his win on the first Saturday in May, will be an overwhelming odds-on favorite, most likely, when Preakness 142 is drawn this coming Wednesday in Maryland. And the Preakness, of course, the highlight of that 14-race card.
Yeah, and if you were joining us yesterday afternoon, you saw our old buddy Gunavera driving at Pimlico. So everything is go for the connections. Antonio Sano, of course, and we'll see how that horse runs. And just starting to glance at the PPs now. I'm glad I got a few days to look that race over.
Yeah, you'll be hitting the road for Maryland, what, Thursday?
Yeah,
correct?
I'll be up there for the Preakness again this year. It's going to be just a great day, and that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'll be up there and back here in South Florida, so get to go up to our sister track and see if I can help out in any way.
I'm sure you'll be helping. In fact, an A-plus helper right here, the legend Ron Nicoletti, and maybe dinner with trainer Antonio Sano on Thursday, who trains Gunavera.
Yeah, we love saying, you know, we love saying that.
Yes, we do. You should come by and hang out in the office with us. You're guaranteed to laugh at the two big mouths up here currently hosting Gulfstream today. Now, let's give a little run through as far as what's on tap, and we've obviously got you covered here on Gulfstream today with the multis and a carryover in the dollar rolling super high five that gets underway in a big way in the first. A little over $2,500 carried over from Saturday's card. And what about the early pick five? We got a couple pick fives today, Ronnie.
Yeah, you got one. You'll show your first ticket in race number 1. And as we've been talking about, the Rainbow Six on Mother's Day starts in race 5 this afternoon. And there you see that really nice carryover approaching $200,000. Certainly going to skyrocket past that.
Indeed, it will be. Maybe even over $250,000 today. It should be a hefty pool on this Mother's Day 2017. Fifth race will kick off the 20-cent Rainbow Six. Late pick 5 begins in race number 6. So certainly a wagering menu that is chock full with promise and potential on a Sunday card in which we run the first at 1:15. And without further ado, my friend, we'll get in and dissect this first race, a field of 7. First 3 races today are on the firm Gulfstream Park turf. The opener, an older claiming race. Tags are 10,000 across the board. You can take out the 8, the MTO Grand, the Man, and by the time we get to post, I have a feeling the number 4, Little Baker, will have some separation on certainly the 1, Dubai Bob, and just about everybody in here. I think he'll be a clear favorite for trainer Ralph Zadie, and much like ripping a Band-Aid off, we're going to get the pain and the suspense out of the way early on in the early pick 5. Little Baker, I'm hoping, comes up in a big way in today's first. He's the single, a 2x2x4 in leg number 4, a very wide open race in which I didn't have confidence in anybody, and we'll round it out with a 2-bagger, hopefully to cash out in race number 5 with the winning $16 play. But Little Baker for me in race number 1, Ron, pulls a good trip, sitting outside and I think vying with the other son of forestry, the one Dubai Bob from the rail.
Yeah, Little Baker's dropping a notch. As you mentioned, he tracked the pace. He got carried out on the turn a little bit in there. He's only beaten ahead when second at the 12.5 level. I think, as you mentioned, Dubai Bob, this is the speed of the speed. His last race, against track record holder Payne Price, I think he's going to go. I think Little Baker sits the trap.
Indeed he does. Now the 7 is where I went for second. That is Matar on the outside, who's coming in from Turfway Park for trainer Wesley Ward. This is a horse who's been very proficient sprinting on the turf in the past. In fact, he's a 5-time winner on the turf. He's already got experience at Gulfstream Park. A cold 4-7 for me to start the program here. You have got Chatino second with Manny Vasquez.
Yeah, this one dropping to the 10 level on the first start since a consistent 2016 campaign in which he hit the board in 8 of 12 races. But they were all route races. So he's turning back. I think this horse, maybe not for the win, because I'm in agreement with you with Little Baker. I think maybe Chatino sits a pretty good trip in there. Also there to be part of the exacta trifecta. And as we mentioned, we got the rolling super high 5 starting. So this is one of the horses I think you got to put somewhere on your ticket.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the second, my friend. We continue to keep it short and sweet. And the action, no doubt, fast and furious as a 5-furlong turf sprint finishes off an all-turf early double. Race number 2, 3-and-up fillies and mares in this maiden special weight, and a pretty good field, in fact, headlined by a returning former Todd Pletcher trained horse and Oraquiete. You've also got a rematch going on concerning the likely favorite, the 4 Little Christina and the 2 Mercurial Miss. Now, in the case of Little Christina, she's likely going to play out this Daughter of Mineshaft as the controlling speed in this race, and boy, oh boy, I wrote watching her last start, pace, clear, because, I mean, that was just a vicious beat. She ran well last time for Carlos Vacareza, and let's look at her last race on April 27th.
Yeah, let's go right back, and as you mentioned, Mercurial Miss also, and you'll see them both in this particular race.
Indeed, as Little Christina vies inside. In fact, she was clear from the get-go beneath Tyler Gaffleone, who has decided to ride for trainer Jonathan Thomas on the 5 Oraquiete. And this is a case where Little Christina, at even money, grabs defeat from the jaws of victory. I mean, this just was a rough one had you bet this horse to win or singled in any of the multis, but a good effort, and what may separate her again, and this might be the last time I go to her at a short price here, is that early speed that she brings to the party. Come and get her at 5'8".
Yeah, and I just think that she has that advantage over the rest of the field with that speed. But at that particular time, and I wish I had the numbers, but that was an area when Carlo Vacareza finished second in about 4 different races, just racing luck, just getting nailed at the wire in 3 or 4 different races at that particular time. So I think he turns it around today and maybe gets the job done in there. You saw Mercurial Miss in there. She proved she can compete at this level. She stepped up from 40, finished third. She was 36-1.
36-1 and ran well. You'll take a shorter price this afternoon. And truth be told, after chasing, she was nowhere near Little Christina at crunch time. And I thought she might hit the try or super, but I like Little Christina and Oraquiete far better at shorter prices than the 2 Mercurial Miss. Now, you're not an Oraquiete fan in this race, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say about a filly who ran very well. In hindsight, fairly average field she debuted against late in the Saratoga meet, in fact, right before Labor Day weekend on September 2nd, a race we'll go to the videotape with. She's had a very good trip in her debut. Wasn't betting this race at 7-1 for Todd Pletcher. And man, much like Little Christina, she lost a tough one after battling bravely against Black Canary, who was favored in this race first time out from Marcassi.
You know, when I went back and looked at this race, because I knew you were going to show it this afternoon, and there's a horse you have to admit sometimes you might have missed, because the horse that she finished in front of that day was Bellevue, and Bellevue came back to win the Ginger Brew here in early January, going 7.5 furlongs on the turf. So she was sort of flattered off that performance, but hasn't been seen in a while, so I backed off to watch a race. You know, coming back, special weight on the turf. We'll see how she runs.
All right.
But
43 wins at the meet and counting for Tyler Gaffalione. Picked up a Saturday riding double, his first mount in the card for trainer Jonathan Thomas, who, if you are unfamiliar with, is a former assistant to Todd Pletcher up in the Big Apple.
Isn't
Good to
everybody?
see John. I tell you, there's quite a few young, talented horsemen and horsewomen who work for Todd, who are out on their own doing good things, and we'll see how Jonathan does with Oroquiete off the layoff and trainer change in the second. That, of course, brings us to race number 3 on the Mother's Day card here at Gulfstream Park. We go 2 turns for the first time today, stretching out off a pair of races at 5, and we'll go the 7.5 with this 12-5, 3-up Filly Mare, a maiden claimer, and a race in which I would say, and I'm curious to hear what your opinion is, most likely the 3, Taco Wayne Shot, is the one they've got to beat in this race for trainer Stephen Dwoskin. I'm new on the scene, I admit that. Still very much a South Florida rookie here at Gulfstream Park. I want to know who Barry Carafin is, with that Barry Carafin bet,
yeah.
and I want to know who Taco Wayne is. Who's Taco Wayne?
We got to find out. I actually do not know. We got to ask Steve if we see him. Like you say, who's Taco Wayne's Shot. And you know, you're right. This is the race I will admit I had such a tough time with this race. The horse I ended up going to scratch. That was the 2 Toro Femi. So I moved up to 10, hold that kitten who's stretching out around 2 turns after rallying to finish 4th, trying 5 furlongs last time out. She's a daughter of Kitten's Joy. She's hit the board at this distance in the past, and I think she's part of the pace scenario this afternoon. And she was not my top pick. I scratched into her, thus I left her on there. I think you might have the logical one on top with Intermission, who's changing and going to the David Fawkes.
Right, I'm hoping she's not very logical and maybe a little sneaky here. She's 10-1 on the line, and for good reason. I mean, her races to date, with the exception of a 51 buyer and a 3rd place finish in her debut at Tampa Bay in mid-February, are not much to write home about. I mean, she's done very little running, but it's a case of her being a new face, and this seems like one of the most profitable angles, and an angle that works on a consistent basis, moving into a sharp barn with a horse that has no form. And I'm hoping that, just for no better reason, and I do think it's a good reason, that Intermission, first time out for David Fawkes, who's one of the most high-profile trainers in South Florida, hoping that he can get her to improve here. Maybe she can get it done at a sneaky 8-1 or so.
And a little information on that race up in Tampa. It turned out to be a really strong maiden test up there in Oldsmar that produced 3 next out winners from only 5 starters. So
which one? Her last April 9th?
Yeah, last
Good.
one. So that was a good race. So that $16,000 race, you know, if you're a key race aficionado, this one might be. Now, tell the Taco Wayne's Shot story, who we don't know who Taco Wayne is.
We don't. We're going to find out. We'll ask Steve later on as Luca Panici gets a leg up. But I'm trying to shake things up with the 8 Intermission. Don't kill my price there, man. Come on. Got to get at least 8-1 first time out off that trainer change to David Fawkes, who we respect quite a bit. On to race number 4, my friend. 4th race, tough crew. 35 starter allowance, 3-up, 6.5 furlongs. This will be the Mother's Day Sunday opener on the main track. And a number of these horses have been running in some just very consistently good 16K claimers. Those optional claiming $12,000 state bred races come up pretty tough. And there's plenty of ways to go in here, including the number 8, Dancing in the Heat, who we both like from the outside for trainer Ralph Zadie, who after his upset win by about this much in race number 2 yesterday, enters the program 9 for 20 at the meet for 45%.
Yeah, you always got to give a second look when you see Ralph Zadie. This one moving there via the claim, turns back to 6.5. First starts in finishing 4th behind a hard-knocking closer that everybody knows around here, and that's Papa Pig, who comes from the clouds every race. That was a 16 open claimer going 7 furlongs back on March 9th. Dancing in the Heat. On top of the ticket, not one you would single, because I think the horse that I have in second, Gold Shark, has got a big shot in here today.
He's coming in off a very fast race. Boy, oh boy, I can't imagine too many maiden 25s, even during the championship meet, even with the high-quality racing at Gulfstream Park, come back with the figure, at least on the buyer scale, in which Gold Shark earned last time, and I'm talking about a big, fat 87. Now, he was with Cititard that afternoon. He will go out today off a trainer change to Fernando Abreu, and let's look at Gold Shark, who's kind of a house horse here for the Stronach stables, gelding by Speightstown, who had everything his own way play at 1-5, but was able to drill a couple of next out winners in this victory.
Yeah, and it was very impressive, and just drew off to win it, by 5.5 lengths. They're about 5+ lengths in this race.
Yeah, I mean, look at the way that he just gapped out this field. I mean, they are strung out a couple of football fields behind him.
I just wanted to show you a real small stat. Once you see this horse crossing the wire, there's nobody around, and certainly any part of that performance again today beats this field. That's why I was saying with the 8, not a horse that I would single. I want to show you a very limited stat, but a good stat on Fernando Abreu. First start after trainer switch, 31 to 60 days right here at Gulfstream Park. Just 2 for 8, 25%, 50% in the money. But what I liked, $5.92 return of investment. So one of those was a bomber in there. Just the stat I wanted to show that he does it and he can do it well.
Yeah, I would imagine Fernando is running an operation currently during the spring-summer meet here, in which he's probably seen at least a little bit of an influx in numbers once some of the bigger stables leave town. He's a talented young trainer, a long-time assistant to the great late H. Allen Jerkins up in the Big Apple, and he's got a dangerous sort of mid-price, maybe 5-6 to 1 contender in race number 4. It's a race really we could spend quite a bit of time on. You've also got the 6 Express Jet, who always seems to pick up a piece and is in the mix, and the old number 2. I wish it was Marty McFly from Back to the Future, but I do wonder if McFly is named for Marty McFly, as Stanley Gold's got one coming in off an 85 buyer and seems very closely matched to Express Jet.
Well, we're going whether it's named after Marty McFly, even if it isn't, but I think it is. Stretching out to 6.5, rallied to finish third against Simler. That was a 12-5 state-bred optional claimer going 3/4. Stanley Gold, Jesus Rios, I think a logical horse to be somewhere on your ticket. Gold Shark repeats that. The dance is over early, but dancing in the heat might have something to say.
I
about
like
that.
this crew in the 4th race. Looking forward to them competing out here on the main track, maybe a 1/16 of a mile from where we're currently sitting with all of you. How about the Rainbow 6? Carryover approaching 200 large. This man next to me, the mayor of Gulfstream, will have a ticket after this quick timeout here on Gulfstream today.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet, we are racing.
Rolling ahead, and welcome back here. Mother's Day at Gulfstream Park once again, and it goes without saying, we love our moms. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and glad you're with us here at Gulfstream Park. It is
And
JB.
grandmas, too.
Grandmas, too. I had Grandma out here and Mom yesterday. They took the trip down to Stewart. First time I've seen them in a couple months. It was good to have Mom and Grandma. Again, love you both, and glad you had a great Saturday joining us at Gulfstream Park. But anyway, let's move on. And they got to meet you for the first time, which, I mean, that will make anybody's year. Anyway, Ron, 5th race, $192 plus, carry over in the Rainbow 6. What's your play looking like?
I'll show you my ticket now. They took me to the woodshed yesterday. I did not have a good day. I was feeling good. I was going into that race, hitting a couple of Rainbow 6 over the last 7-8 days, but not yesterday. So I'm coming back with a $57.60 ticket. Always try and find a single. Could not do that today. So I'm going to start it off with the 3, 6, and 8 in here. And I find this. I did not use the morning line favorite in there, Bella Sunrise on the drop. So that's how I saw the ticket.
Yeah, no real Bella Sunrise for me in race number 5. In fact, had her 4th, capping my superfecta in this one as she goes from post number 2. You left her out of the number completely, as she is one of a few in here dropping in for 12-5. The more I look at this race, you and I landed on an outside horse who I'm hoping might just control. And if she could control on the front end, obviously talking about the 8 Planet Rockin' from Tampa, might be the kind of field where if you turn for home with the lead, you might just be still in front at the finish line. The more I look at it, though, probably should have picked the 3, Catch That Cat, who's coming out of some races that are just against much better horses, and I don't think it's debatable. She's exiting a field in which the winner was second with the 70 Fig in an open 25K claimer a few days ago, and there was a 16-1 third place finisher who broke or won a maiden special weight, I should say, on Thursday's card. My main question with the 3, Catch That Cat, can she stay the 1 mile distance? That might be, in fact, I think it is the biggest question with her. Distance, as far as maybe being a gray area, I don't think comes into play as much with the 8 Planet Rock, who ran well at Tampa most recently.
Yeah, you know, this one is debuting locally, shortening up to this 1-turn mile and stepping up to the 12.5 level. And this is where the guessing comes in here. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. Opened and surrendered that 2.5 length lead when finishing third. That was an $8,000 maiden race going a mile into 16th to Tampa. We have a lot of horses now arriving here for the spring summer meet from Tampa. And this is one of the angles that you have to pay attention to see how that race up there translate to 12.5 down here. And I think you might be right with Cat. The reason I put in second for all the reasons you mentioned, stretching out to 8 furlongs, finished fifth against Better. That was going 3/4 of a mile, a pair of fifth place finishes actually. So the distance might be the reason that this one might not get it done, but class-wise looks good.
All right, they're all in the same boat, and there's a few other stretch-outs in race number 5. We'll talk about them in the opening leg of the Rainbow 6 and the 5th. Without further ado, however, it's time to get on to race number 6 as we stay on the dirt. We stay way down the backstretch out of that 1 mile shoot as Sunday's Mother's Day Late Pick 5 begins with the group of 12-5, 3-and-up claiming races. Second half of this card, and perhaps this is a phrase that'll come back to haunt me, and we'll see what your picks are. I think it's pretty manageable. I think you've got some short price horses you can have confidence in that they're going to run well, a couple of which are trained by Todd Pletcher here on this Sunday program. So without further waiting, let's get that Late Pick 5 ticket up there. I'll go 2 deep in race number 6, the number 2 Attack Zone, and the 7 Sandbrook Edge, who I would consider coming back and even pressing for a few more wagers, I should say, or a few more sequences there. I think Sandbrook Edge will be pretty tough on her way and in race number 7. And then in the 9th race, she's got the look. Both appear to be pretty tough to beat at short prices. So just an $8 play, 6th race. You think Sandbrook Edge is
That's the one.
eons the horse to beat?
Without a doubt. Moved to the Victor Barboza Jr. Bond after the claim. Wheels back at the same level and distance, looking to improve on that 3rd place finish. Was the odds-on choice last time out. I want to show you a stat on Victor Barboza Jr. And this is first start after the claim. All claiming levels right here at Gulfstream Park. He's 8 for 20. Oh, that's 40%. Oh, he's in the money 90% of the time.
Yeah, wow.
And a $4.63 return of investment. So, boy, 90% in the money. You just know this is the logical choice in there. I didn't single it. I was tempted to single this horse in my Rainbow 6, but I had some interest in the 8 Dravite just because of the connections. Kathleen O'Connell, Edgar Zayas. This one is debuting locally against winners. Finally notched that win up at Tampa. I don't think she's in the same ilk there. Just respect Kathleen so much that I didn't want to get knocked out in the first, in the second leg of the Rainbow 6.
No, we don't want you getting knocked out in leg number 2. We don't want you getting knocked out in leg number 6. We want you to hit the thing today, and I got confidence in you. There are a couple of Tampa shippers in race number 6 today. Horse you talked about, Dravite on the outside, the number 2 Attack Zone. Both seem to be a cut below, I'd say, race in and race out when compared with Sandbrook Edge. The one hang-up with them, or maybe the one weapon both of those have against a foe who's just more talented than them, the fact that they're a little more positionally inclined. They have a little more early speed, and we are still dealing with the main track. It is Gulfstream, after all, but early speed has been king here the last couple of days, and that was, again, the main reason I did not single Sandbrook Edge on that one ticket, because she likes to close from out of it. Let's move on to the 7th race, 3/4 the distance on the main track as we check out this maiden special weight. These are 3-and-up fillies and mares, and a race to look at. And in fact, it is well worth noting the 5th race here on April 9th, in which Ecliptical Rosette drop out of, and the 7 Honor Way. Whether you agree with the DQ in hindsight or not, it is a moot point, I should say, because the 7 Honor Way was disqualified from second. We'll look at the race. In fact, can we get that up there, guys, from April 9th with the number 7 Honor Way, who was eventually disqualified for drifting out, or she was the number 1, excuse me, in the green cap. Hustled along down inside, and she steadily drifts out as that horse on the lead in the white blinkers clears, and you see Tyler Gaffalione wanting to get to the outside, and it's kind of a pinball reaction where a few of these horses, including Ecliptical Rosette, get bumped around.
Yeah, you know, early on, and you saw it right there. Ecliptical Rosette, as you mentioned, bumped at that 5/8 pole in there, elevated from third to second in front of Honor Way, and as you mentioned, that's up to you guys to believe you watched that race.
Indeed. Now, Honor Way was not beating Our Next Roll, who was on the lead. Again, cleared early on and never had an anxious moment at 3-1. But I did think, even despite the fact that she brushed a couple of horses down the backstretch, she by far and away ran the best race of the crew that faced each other on April 9th. And she's going to be tough to beat this afternoon for trainer Todd Pletcher. You've got to like the improvement she showed first time out as a 3-year-old, getting back to a sprint. 7 on top for you and me, and you think the 2, Ecliptical Rosette, will be second best here.
Yeah, I know. I got some interest also in the number 1, and then that's Parole, is the daughter of Ms. Mass, debuting for trainer Christophe Clement. Steady work tap showing up at Payson Park. But I want to show you a cautionary stat on this real quickly. First-time starters, 3-year-olds on the dirt for Christophe Clement over the last 5 years. 6 for 47, only 13%. But in the money, 53% of the time. $1.53 return of investment. Just had some interest in this horse, but it's got to break from the inside and maybe a try play or something like that. And, you know, it's a Claiborne farm, homebred, gets Lasix today, so we'll see. Maybe that's a horse can be on the ticket.
Maybe. We'll see if she's bet here. Parole, a Mizumas filly, as you correctly said. His offspring, in my mind, tend to do best on turf.
Right.
Maybe it'll be turf down the line. We'll see, though, inside post once again. Race number 8 on the program. Older filly mare, 6250 claimers, 7 furlongs. Good to see the fillies and mares getting their due and getting chances to run on this Mother's Day at Gulfstream Park. And one hard hitter. I am a fan, and again, still cutting my teeth on this circuit and still kind of learning the ropes, but I am familiar with the 7 Venom Girl and very encouraged, even though some may argue that her form has steadily declined over the last month or so, that Ralph Nix, who just doesn't claim, he's only claimed a dozen horses over the last 5 years, that he has jumped in to grab her, will run her back with Tyler Gaffalione, and you like Venom Girl as well.
Yeah, you know, this one, as you mentioned, changes barns, goes to the Nix barn, turns back to 7/8 of a mile. Previous winner at that distance and 5 starts with that 1 win. Duel for the lead along the inside, finished third against Simler, going a mile last time out. And the reason I like this horse that much was exactly what you said, that Ralph jumped in to grab this horse in here. I mean, Sulphur Tower, I believe, is the morning line favorite in there. You know, from the Safi Joseph Jr. barn, removes the blinkers for this one today. So I think those are the logical 2.
Yeah, they are. And Solfatara looks like the one they've got to catch and get around, but Venom Girl is not slow and will be off her flank most likely with Tyler G ready to pounce.
I want to mention one other horse, and I didn't like this horse as much as I did when there. Well, we have 3 scratches in this race, by the way, 3, 4, and 5. So the 10 horse kicking in, turning back to 7 furlongs, 4 for 4 in the money at the distance, duel for the lead, weak and late to finish 4th. She's got the tactical speed needed to get position, and the reason I mention that, the scratches to the inside, this horse is going to be better placed this afternoon, and I think it's a bit of a speed play, and I just wanted to mention that horse to be someone's try ticket. I don't know what odds you're going to get this afternoon.
All right, 7-1-10 for this man. It looks like Venom Girl and Solfatara might run away with the win betting in the 8th race today, excuse me. We'll see. Race number 9 on the card. We wrap up the week, and we look to finish strong here with our last dirt race on the program. This is a field of 8. These are 3 and up Florida-bred fillies and mares, and the aptly named She's Got the Look. Man, oh man, was she awesome back on August 4th. Long time ago, but a race we're checking out as she does her best impersonation of Secretariat.
Yeah, she just cruised off. She won that race by 16+ lengths. Coming back now under the tutelage of Todd Pletcher. Spoke to the Connections yesterday, one of the owners, and they're very happy this horse is coming back. And the question they have, doesn't handle the 7 furlongs. I think this horse has a bright future.
Indeed, she does. She's got to go 7 for an excellent layoff barn, as this filly by Adios Charlie will play out as the likely controlling speed. True Motion might be the one closest to her early on. If she has trouble off the bench, can't go the 7, does True Motion maybe wire the field or track and then take over?
That's what I liked about it there. You know, you got to answer the 7 furlong question, and also I used the 8 Grand Cherry. We're pretty much in agreement, right thereabouts.
Yeah, and, as I have the number 3, Sweet Tooth Haven second, as she comes back for trainer David Falk's excuses in her last 2 to cap her 2-year-old season. Sealed track and clearly didn't go the mile on the 16th. Race number 10 on the card. Let's finish things out. 192K plus in the Rainbow 6. The last leg certainly can be dramatic. It was yesterday when 2 singles were alive for 270K. 3 and up fillies and mares in this 12-5 maiden claimer. 7.5 furlongs on the turf. How do you see the nightcap? In fact, well, you and I see the same basically try-box with the 2 capping the Super.
Well, Anthony Lass, who we both have on top, moved to the Angel Rodriguez barn after the claim. What is new? Drops to the 12-5 level. Stalked the pace weekend to finish 7, but it was a key 20,000 maiden race. Produced a trio of next out winners from 6 starters. Leading rider Tyler Gaffleone hops aboard. We mention this all the time. This barn spots them where they want to win. So don't put too much in the drop that there's something wrong with the horse. I think they just want to win the nightcap.
And then we have Venezuelan Treasure, who's 0 for 11. We did have, what was that, Express Traffic who broke his mane, or Traffic Express who broke his mane in the nightcap yesterday, was nearly 0 for 30. 0 for 11 thus far, but a good effort most recently towards the end of April. 8.592 or thereabouts here in the nightcap. 8.952 for me, 8.592 for this man, and we'll talk about all the races today. We go with 10. Acacia up in Maryland, so it's Ronnie, myself, and of course track announcer Pete Aiello holding down the fort. Happy Mother's Day once again to all the moms. Glad you joined us here on Gulfstream today. And once again, we send it back up to Pete for the second set of Sunday's Scratches and Changes.